Hey YouTube, welcome back to the channel. This is Randomly T, and today I wanted to come on and I wanted to ask the question, do you have to cut your locks to move up the corporate ladder? Okay, before we get started, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. So I wanted to ask the question because I seen a video, and this is stemming from a video that I saw on YouTube where Kevin Samuels was saying, if you want to move up the corporate ladder, you need to cut your locks. And he ends the video, or the clip ends by saying, you're not selling out, cutting your locks, you're buying in. And then it just kind of cuts off. And I was just sitting here thinking about that. Like, do you have to cut your locks to move up the corporate ladder? Several people in the comments are saying absolutely not. Some of them own businesses. Some of them have moved up the corporate ladder with their locks, and their locks have not been a problem. And then there's a few people saying, like, yes, you need to cut your locks, okay? So I wanted to just tell a story, and I hope I'm telling this correctly, but my husband used to have locks, and he's in aviation, and I believe that he was doing a tour at the company that he works with right now. He was doing a tour, and they were just kind of walking through, and like I said, someone was giving them a tour of the company, and he had locks. So long story short, he comes back to the company that he's working for. When he goes back to the company, he tells the guy, I guess they hired him or something like that, and he goes on, and my husband says, well, I'm the guy that was here, taking the tour. And he's like, oh, I didn't recognize you. And he's like, yes, I cut my locks. Anyways, my husband got the job, not because, I'm not going to say because he got his locks cut, but like, the guy didn't even really pay attention to him because, I'm not going to say because he had locks, but it maybe was because he had the locks. And I think a lot of it depends on where you live. I think in a lot of places like New York, California, Atlanta, all of those places, you can have locks. It's not a unnormal thing. It's a very common thing. I think some smaller cities, some white towns, let's just say it, some white towns, they probably have this preconceived notion in their mind of how you are, what you stand for, just based off of how your hair is and having locks, which that's a very sad thing. So I'm not saying you have to cut your locks, and that's not why my husband cut his locks, I don't believe. I'll have to ask him that. But I just know when he went back to the company, he didn't have locks. And then the guy's like really conversing with him, and he's just like, yeah, I was here, during the tour. And the guy's like, yeah, I didn't even notice you, probably because, he didn't have the locks. But still, you should remember a face, So like, you all, what do you think? I know where I live at, it's pretty cultural. I mean, it's not New York City, it's not, but it's a nice mix. It's a nice mix of everyone. I'm starting to see more and more where people are locked. I can't say that I saw the same thing 20 years ago, but locks, they're making their way to the front. Like, it's just becoming more and more common. And so I wouldn't say I would have that problem where I live, having locks. I feel like where I live, you could move up the corporate ladder with locks. Yeah, I'll say you could. I think you could. I think your resume should speak for itself, and I think it would here. But I will say this, man, it's just a sad thing. So my sister does not have locks. She has long natural hair. But every time she switches her hair up, someone at her job is gonna say something. Oh, you got your hair like this today, or oh, you did this to your hair. Like, they notice like any little thing she does to her hair. And I feel like at her job, if she came in with locks, well, she already has the job, so it's not like a big deal. But at her job, I feel like someone could frown upon someone that has locks, and I definitely do not agree with that at all. Me personally, I wouldn't even cut my locks for a job. I just wouldn't. I just wouldn't. Of course, if I'm living in a small town and I have no means of getting out and I have children and a family to feed, I'm going to do what I have to do to feed my family, okay? But I don't feel like you should be cutting your locks for a job. I just don't. And then it's just like, if you are, then what does that tell you about how your job really feels about who you are as a person, or how they even feel about your culture? You know, I feel like locks, I feel like having locks is part of our culture. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say that. I feel like locks is a part of our culture. So it's just like, what does that tell you if your job is not hiring someone because of that? You know, are they having a thought of you behind, you know, in the back of their head? I don't know. It's just not a good thing. But I definitely get why, if you're in, I don't know, some small town in Idaho or Iowa, where you might not get the job because you have locks. But if you have a family to feed, you may be cutting your locks. Everyone doesn't have the power to, or the knowledge, or just the means to start their own business. You know, because I've seen people in Kevin Samuel's comments and they're like, just start your own company. Well, it's not that easy for everyone, okay? Thank God my job does not mind me having locks. I work from home, but I've definitely been, you know, in the office with my hair. It's not a big deal. A few people in my job, not even a few, I would say a fair amount of people at my job have locks in their hair. And even at my job, there are a lot of, you know, African American people that have a high position, you know. So I'm fortunate to just be living where I live, because like you all, it's not that way everywhere, you know. And it's a blessing if you do live in a very diverse area, but for some people it's just not the case. So what do you all feel about it? Do you feel like, you know, to move up the corporate ladder you have to cut your locks? Do you feel like you can keep your locks? Would you cut your locks for a company? If they're like, you know, we really want to hire you, you know, 6 figures, but you have to cut your locks, you know? Yeah, how do you all feel about it? Again, I'm definitely team, I don't think you should have to cut your locks for a job, but I do get it if you're just, again, not in a diverse area, and locks just may not be the way to go, which is very sad. And it just lets me know that we have a long way to go in this world. We've definitely come a long way, but we still have a ways to go. You know, if that's the case, people should definitely be judged by what they know inside, by their heart, by their skill, not for how they're choosing to wear their hair. You know what I mean? So let's talk about it in the comments below. That is the video today. I do thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.